Hello everyone, this is Carlo from Trivio, and in today's video I would like to show you how to add interactivity to your Trivio clip using PlayMaker. What is Trivio? Trivio is a way to quickly publish rich 3D Unity content to the web, mobile, and VR. Okay, so let's start. This is our project where we're gonna start. It's a Unity project. Let me go ahead and open it. Okay, this is our main scene, and it's a city with a mech robot in it. And if I click play, you'll see that nothing happens. It's just the robot standing there doing nothing. The goal for today's video is to actually add control so that we can actually get the robot to walk forward and then to turn left or right. And we're gonna go and do this using the PlayMaker. PlayMaker is in fact fully supported by Trivio. One thing to note is that for you, in order to actually do this tutorial, you're gonna have to have a license copy of PlayMaker on your machine. Okay, so let's start. First of all, what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to create an animator controller for the robot so that we're gonna be able to tell the robot how to perform the idle animation, the left and the right and the forward. So let's go ahead and do that. As you can tell, there's no, right now the robot has an animator assigned to it, but there's no animator controller assigned. So what I can do, I can just go ahead and there should be an animator controller. There you go, animator folder. Then I'll go and create a new animator controller. And we can call this one robot controller. Okay, let's open it. And we're gonna have to create few states. So we said we want an idle state. I'll rename it idle. Then we want turn left state. No, sorry, I changed the wrong name. Idle. This one, this new state is gonna be turn left. And then we can create a new state. And we put it here, and we call this one turn right. And then we can create a last state, and we name it forward. Okay, so this is the idle. This is when the robot is going to turn left. This is when the robot is going to turn right, and this is when the robot is going to walk forward. Now, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to assign actual animation clips to each one of these states. Okay, so idle. As you can tell right now, there's no one assigned to it. Let's go and grab the right idle animation. Here it is. Walk idle. It's going to go to idle. Then turn left. We're going to grab the turn left 90-degree animation. Done. Then we assign the turn right animation. Done. Oops, sorry. Turn right. This Unity sometimes is finicky. There you go. And then we assign the forward animation. Let me find it. It should be called turn, walk. There you go. Walk. There you go. So let me make sure everything is fine. Idle has an idle animation now. Turn left as a turn left animation assigned to it. Turn right is a turn right animation. And forward is a walk animation. Okay, so now we have all these states, but of course, if we play this, the only thing that is going to happen is just going to go to the idle state. I can show you that. You're going to see the robot just idling there. Yeah, you can see the animation is being applied and the disk is rotating, but nothing is happening because it's just in idle. So what we want to do, let's go back to the animator. We want to add transitions, right? From idle to turn, left and right, and from idle to forward. So let's go ahead and do that. Make transition, turn left, and then from left back to idle. Same thing for right, back to idle. And we do the same thing for forward and back to idle. Okay. How are we going to control this transition? We're going to have two variables that we're going to add to this animator controller. We're going to call it animator walk and animator turn, okay? So let's go ahead and make those parameters, okay? We go here on the parameters panel of the animator controller, and we push play. We need a float, and we call it animator turn. And we add another one, still floating point, and we call it animator walk. There you go. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna say that when we're gonna start for the turn left, we're gonna add a condition for this transition, okay? And this is gonna be animator turn, which is correct because we are turning left. And we're gonna say that it's gonna go here when this is less than minus 0.5. Now we do the going back from turn left to idle. And it's empty. The condition list is empty. We add a new one. Animation turn when it's greater than minus 0.5. There you go. So when this variable animator turn is going to be less than 0.5, if we are in idle, it's going to go to turn left. When you're in the turn left status, if it's that variable becomes greater than minus 0.5, it's going to go back to idle. Okay. So now let's do the right turn. Same thing. We're going to add a condition. Animation turn, the same variable. This time, for going to idle, from idle to turn right, we're going to say that animator turn is going to have to be greater than 0.5. And for going back from turn right to idle, let's add a condition. Same thing, animation turn has to be less than 0.5. So what's going to happen is if we are in idle and this variable becomes greater, sorry, not bigger, than 0.5, like we're saying here, greater 0.5 is going to go from idle to turn right. And if you're in turn right and the variable becomes less than 0.5, it's going to go back to idle. Okay, let me make sure that all these transactions, they don't have an exit time. They're just controlled by conditions. They don't exit by themselves. Okay, let's do that for each one of those ones. Okay, we are done. Now what we're going to do, we're going to do the same thing with forward. We're going to go here and we're going to say, we're going to add a condition. This time we don't use the turn variable. We're going to use the animator walk. And when it's greater than 0.5, we're going to transition from idle to forward. And even here, we don't need the exit time. And for going back from forward to idle, we're going to say that when the animator walk is less than 0.5 and we are in forward, it's going to go back to idle. There you go. We are done. Let me save the scene. And this is pretty much the bulk of the work that we needed to do on the animator. So if we push play, still nothing is going to happen because nobody's really actually changing those parameters of the animator. So we're going to just see the robot, just a little robot idling there. And yes, nothing is happening in the animator itself. All right, now that we are done with work on the animator, then we're gonna go and do the work on the PlayMaker. So what we're gonna do, we wanna basically change those two values, animator turn and animator walk, when we press the keys on the keyboard or where we use the joystick. So let's go and try to do that in PlayMaker. Okay, so first of all, let's select the robot that we want to control. in the hierarchy. And then we go to the PlayMaker window down here. We right click and we say add state machine. And there you go. PlayMaker just created a state machine for us. And right now we only have one state, and that's what we wanna pretty much we're gonna need. We don't need more than one state, so we can rename this state and call it Mech controller. Okay, so we said that we want to control the Mech with either the keyboard or the joypad. In order to do that, what we're gonna need to do, we're gonna need to use the axis that Unity provides as a input controller. Let me show you what that means. If we go in project settings, input, we have the input manager for this project. And as you can tell, there are a lot of, actually 17 in this case, of predefined axes. And the ones that we're gonna use are two, the horizontal one, which is associated with the joypad or is associated with A, D buttons. And we also gonna use the vertical one, which is still associated with the joypad or with the SW keys on the keyboard. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to do that. Okay, so first of all, in this state, we're gonna just go and actually, first of all, we're gonna create two variables like we did in the animator, and we gonna call this variable. The first one is a floating one, and we're gonna call it turn. Add done. So we have a new variable for this state. These are local variables; they are not globals. We don't need globals. And so we have turn floating point, and we're gonna add walk still floating point. There you go. So we created for this state, we created two variables. We call them turn and walk. And what we want to do, we want to copy the value of the Unity access to those variable. And then each frame, we want to set the variables into the animators. Remember those ones, the animator turn and the animator walk, to the same values that we have in these two variable here from PlayMaker. So let's go ahead and do that. So first of all, we need to get the value of the axis every frame. So let's do that. Action browser in PlayMaker, and we need to go to input and where input. There you go. And there must be a get axis. There you go. This is the get axis. This is basically getting the value of the Unity axis. Okay, so this is the first one, and horizontal. So we want this to get the value of the horizontal axis, and we want it to do every frame, and we want it to store the value into the turn variable. Okay, so what's gonna happen? It's PlayMaker every frame, because we're telling PlayMaker to do it every frame, is gonna grab the value of the horizontal axis and store it into the turn variable here, this one. Okay. This is for the horizontal. We also need to handle the vertical axis, so let's do that. Action browser again, get axis, vertical. That's the axis we want to use. No multiplier, and we're gonna store it into the walk, because when we move the joypad or we push the W button on the keyboard, we want the robot to walk, while the horizontal one, which would be left and right, is gonna actually cause the robot to turn either left or right. Okay, so again, horizontal is gonna store the variable, the value of the horizontal axis into the turn variable, and vertical is gonna be stored into the walk variable. Okay, so this is done every frame for both get axis. After we get the value, what we want to do, we want to, as I told you before, we want to propagate that value to the animator, right? So we want the turn value here to go into the animator turn variable, and the walk value stored here to go into the animator walk value. So we need to do that. And to do that, we need two more actions. So we go into the animator tab and we look for set floating point. Get set animator float. There you go. And so this is the first set animator float. And the game object that we're going to use is the owner. It's fine. We can keep that. Okay. So like I was saying, set animator float is going to set the value of the variable into the animator from PlayMaker. So let's do that. The value that we want to set is turn, and the parameter into the animator. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to play the scene for a second. There you go. So turn, this is the local variable, where we wanna assign the same value to animator turn, okay? And so that's gonna handle the turn. It's gonna handle left and right. So we're gonna have to add another set animator float. Set animator float. In this case, what we're gonna do, we want to use animator walk, and the value that we want to set is walk. Okay, so I think we are pretty much done with this, and we want this to happen every frame. So what this to just to recap, what this simple PlayMaker state is going to do is going to grab every frame, the value of the axis, horizontal and vertical, and store that in a variable, local variable here. And at the same time, every frame is going to set those two values into the animator, into this variable here in the animator. That, as if you remember, we use those variables to actually to decide the transition between these states. So let's play the scene and see if this is actually working. Okay, now let's go ahead and see if what we've done actually works. Let's push play over here. There you go. Our PlayMaker state machine is functioning. Our animator is functioning. Right now we are in idle, and you can see those parameters are 0 and 0, right? Turn and walk. Let me move the animator over here so we can see those values changing when I push the buttons. Okay, so let's try to move forward. I'm gonna click the W key on my keyboard. And there you go. The robot is walking. You can tell that the animator walk variable goes up to 1 and the state changes from idle to forward. Let's try to turn left, and that should change the animator turn value to a negative value, and so it should cause the robot to turn left. Let's try. There you go. Yes, that's what is happening. See, animated turn goes to -1, and the state machine over here switches to turning left. Now I'm gonna click the D key on my keyboard, and that should cause the robot to go right. That should change this value to +1. And in fact, that's what's happening. And so there you go. We're done. Our robot now, I can control it using the keyboard, the joypad, and once we publish to Trivio, we're going to be also able to control the movement using the on-screen UI. Okay, so let's go ahead and compress this project and publish it to Trivio. Okay, this is our project folder. As usual, I'm going to go and delete the library folder from it. We don't need it. It's just going to make the zip file bigger. So right click, compress. I'm going to make a zip file of the project. There you go. Now we can navigate to Trivio. Okay, we are in Trivio. Let's upload the zip file. In this case, it's very important to notice that since we are controlling the camera, we're gonna have to use a free Unity camera type. Okay, free means that the system Trivia is not gonna do anything with it. It's our, in this case, PlayMaker that is controlling the camera and the character in the game. So choose free camera type, and we grab the zip file and we drop it, and it's uploaded to Trivia. So the project is now fully uploaded. Let's go and see if it's actually building. We go to the publish page. Yeah, it's already, the project is already in the queue. This is gonna take a few minutes. So. Okay, looks like the project is now fully published to Trivia. So let's go ahead and see if what we've done actually works. Let's play the clip. To my clips. This is our Mech PlayMaker clip that we just published. Preview. And let's go and play it. Restart. Streaming. There you go. Let's see if we can actually get the robot to walk. Let's use the W button. There you go. As you can tell, the robot is walking forward. Let's see if it can go left. Yes. Right. So everything looks like it's working. Let's see if the actual UI is actually driving the robot as well. Okay, so let's push the forward button. Let's get in the robot to walk, and then turn right and turn left. Perfect. Everything seems to be working just fine. As I told you before, the UI gets automatically hooked to the horizontal and vertical axis of Unity. So since we use those two axes in this clip, the UI is actually just working. Okay, very cool. Everything works fine. Let's quit and rate it. Okay, guys, I think this is all for today. So what I show you today is how to add a PlayMaker control to your 3D clip. If you want to know more about Trivio, please head over to www.trivio.com, or you can try our hub directly on watch.trivio.com. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.